cafe in Sydney's central business district. Let's bring in our reporter Dan Murphy, who is in Sydney's Martin Place. Dan, we understand hostages are being held. What else can you tell us?
Ashley, good morning. Well, I'm currently standing on Elizabeth Street in, of course, the Sydney CBD, where this siege is unfolding in Martin Place. I hope you can see these live pictures coming into the Sky News Centre. As you can see, dozens of police cars outside the Lindt Cafe in Martin Place. As I speak to you now, what I can see is basically police standing outside that cafe. Some police are wearing what I would describe as heavy riot gear. They're dressed in full black clothing. They're also holding guns, and some police have their hands on their guns ready to be drawn. On the street, I can also see heavily armoured vehicles as well as police cars with flashing lights. Of course, the alert was raised at around 9:45 local time this morning, but information coming from police is still very light at this stage. What we have heard is that there are reports that there are maybe hostages inside the Lindt Cafe, and that situation is now being dealt with by police. I can also see police dogs now being prepared to enter the cafe on the outside, but at the moment the situation is, I guess you could just say, an uneasy calm. There are people on the street, and what would otherwise be a very busy Monday morning in Sydney, now obviously quite something different, that's for sure.
Dan, for those viewers who aren't familiar with Martin Place in Sydney, talk us through it. It is, of course, a very busy pedestrian thoroughfare through this whole area.
Absolutely, and at this time on a Monday morning there would be thousands of people walking along Elizabeth Street heading into what is the very core financial district of the city. Here on Elizabeth Street at the moment there are people banked up on both sides waiting to pass through. Obviously with this siege unfolding they're unable to pass, and also traffic has been delayed as well. So there are police cars crossing the middle of the road and vehicles banked up all the way back towards the harbour and also back towards the city in both directions. So obviously we'll be working to bring you some more information about exactly what is unfolding in Martin Place at the moment, Ashley.
We are seeing reports coming through from the 7 network that their newsroom, which is quite close by, is being cleared entirely. Staff there being evacuated. Also the West Bank, we understand, which is close by as well. Reports suggesting there that is also being evacuated. Dan Murphy, live there in Sydney, thank you. Let's go live now to our political commentator, Chris Kenny. Chris, you're in our CBD studio, which is also in Martin Place. What have you seen?
Ash, I was in the Lindt coffee shop just 25 minutes ago getting a takeaway coffee myself. There was nothing untoward there, probably up to a dozen customers sitting around having coffee, 2 or 3 people serving. I walked out of the coffee shop and sat down actually to do a radio interview just outside the shop, when about 5 minutes later police started swarming, and I heard a woman explaining to police what had gone on. Now, she'd tried to go into the coffee shop, someone had gone in and disabled the doors, and she thought she saw a shotgun. And then very quickly we saw police swarming, people running away from that shop, and we saw those horrific pictures. I don't know whether you've seen pictures on air, but I've certainly seen them with my eyes, of people up against the windows of the Lindt coffee shop, their arms raised. So it's a horrible situation that's developed very quickly. I look out the window here of the Sky studio, and the police have still cordoned this area back, pushing the public and everyone and the media back further down Elizabeth Street. They've blocked off Martin Place between Elizabeth Street and Macquarie Street, and they're just pushing lots of people here back right out of the way. Hordes of police have come here. The initial police arrivals were 3 police on motorcycles and some police on foot. Since then, a lot more have come, heavily armed, wearing bulletproof vests and coordinating this situation, keeping the crowds back, obviously some guns drawn, and trying to establish exactly what's going on here. But very much a standoff at the moment, but a frightening situation.